Secret Mom Hacks, episode number 4. My name is Krista, and I am thrilled to be your host. In today's podcast, I am thrilled to share with you my very first interview we're publishing on here. And this interview is very near and dear to me because I had the privilege and pleasure of interviewing my mom for this premiere interview episode, if you will, the very first interview on Secret Mom Hacks. My mother, of course, oh my gosh, see, you can tell I'm speechless about her. She has been the model mom for me, and she's always there for me, always there for our family. Leads with love, always fun, generous, just always has a smile on her face. And I am thrilled to have her on this very first interview on my podcast. So we're about to get that interview queued up here. I can't wait for you to hear it. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, Mama. As of this recording, I am chasing a 3.5-year-old around the house that no amount of Googling mom groups or what to expect when you're expecting books were able to prepare me for. Y'all, there's a lot of stuff people don't talk about when it comes to being a parent, pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, postpartum. As someone who was previously terrified of childbirth, parenthood, and all of the things that follow on that journey, I am here to help you pull back the curtain on all of it. And every now and then it might get a little messy, okay? We may share a little TMI, but that's what this is about, right? Because sometimes there's no such thing as TMI. Sometimes you just gotta know. You gotta know the dirt, the details. So my goal is that you will leave every episode feeling refreshed, inspired, and most of all, hopeful, knowing that you are not on this mom journey alone. Now, there's a lot of subject matter to cover when it comes to mom life, and we are leaving no stone unturned. So let's get to it. Please allow me to introduce my mom, Susie. I hope you enjoy our chat.
Mom, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay! Okay, great. Hopefully the technology gods are going to be in our favor with this recording. We will see. So friends and listeners out there, if you hear any random background noise like a mower or a alarm clock go off, it is what it is. We've been trying to get this podcast episode recorded, and there's really never a good time to do it. You just have to do it and deal with the circumstances. So anyway, apologies in advance for any interruptions, any background noise you may hear. Hopefully it just adds some ambiance to our call today. But I am very happy to have my mother on here with us today. This is very special to me, and Mom is going to share some of her wisdom and insight that she has learned over the past however many decades of raising me and now being a grandmother. So she's going to share with us some of her tips and tricks that she has learned from this whole time and from her journey in motherhood and parenthood. So, Mom, are you ready to jump into this? Are we going to do this episode?
I hope it works. Yes.
Okay. So my mother now lives just a handful of miles down the road from me. I'm very fortunate. When we moved to Tennessee, started a family, just a couple of years prior to that, my parents followed us here. I am an only child, so I don't have to share my parents with anyone else. And my mom is also an only child, and so we're all super close. It's really nice to have my parents so close to us here in Middle Tennessee, just a couple of miles down the road, so that when we do want to spend time together, we can. It's really, really nice. But we're all originally from the Midwest. We're originally from Southern Illinois. We've all made Tennessee our home now, and it's really nice to have them here close so we can spend time with them. If we want to have a night out and need some childcare, it's convenient that Mom and Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, they can jump in and help with some childcare duties now and then. And of course, they get to spoil the little one and then send her back, send her back home to her own bed. But anyway, Mom, do you want to share a little bit about your background, what you did before you're retired now, of course, but do you want to share a little bit about yourself, where you've come from, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Okay. Well, I'm from a small town called Carrier Mills, Illinois, and was raised there, and I had all my grandparents and completed high school. And then I went right after I graduated high school, I got married, and then moved to Harrisburg, Illinois. And when we moved to Harrisburg, then I decided I would continue my college at the local college there called Southeastern Illinois College, and I ended up with just a degree in like a clerk typist kind of thing, because that's really all I ever wanted to do, was just be a secretary kind of position. And so I did that, and then I got several little kind of, I would call them piddly jobs around town. And then I actually got a little better job, which was at Montgomery Ward. And then I was contacted by, my mom had contacted some people through the state of Illinois, and I got a job at the local Bowen Center.
Bowen Center, right.
And I worked there until it closed, and then I took a layoff for a little while, and then I was called back and started with the Department of Public Aid at the time, and then to the Department of Human Services in later years, which was the same thing as the Department of Public Aid. And I retired then from the Department of Human Services with almost 33 years of service. And anyway, that was the end of my working. And then I guess I need to back up, don't I? Having a child in between there.
Yeah, that's a little bit of the professional background, and let's talk about how. Well, we know how I came along, but when I came along, because we're all adults here, so we know how that works. But just to give a little background, I hope it's okay if I share this, because of course the vision, my goal with this podcast is for parents to, again, know what it's like in the trenches and the hurdles and obstacles that can come up through this journey in parenthood. And so I hope it's okay because I know this background of my story, but I know that you and Dad, like, you all were having trouble conceiving. You had been trying for several years, right? Like, and you did find out through your lady doctor that you have or had, I don't know how all that works, a tilted uterus,
and couldn't get pregnant, so she gave me some hormones, and it was just the right thing. And before you knew it, I was pregnant, and I had been, for some reason that couldn't happen while I was on layoff between a couple of jobs there. It was after I had been like only a month at work, and I got pregnant, and it was just a wonderful journey. I mean, I felt good all the time. I mean, I was maybe a little bit sick at times, but the doctor would always give me something to help with when you have these little butterflies and whatever it is when you're carrying a baby.
Well, Well, so this is probably now a good, this is where the questions could come into play, or just the topic of sharing the birth story, however little or much you want to share. So you found out, with the help of your lady doctor, so you got pregnant about a month or so into starting the new job. And then I'm happy to know I didn't give you too much grief in terms of sickness or morning sickness or feeling too much under the weather or anything like that.
No.
Let's talk. I've heard this, but our listeners haven't heard it before. So whatever you would want to share of in terms of like me coming into the world.
Okay. Well, I was working, and because I was planning on working up to the time she was born, or you were born, but I hadn't been able to wash any clothes or do anything. Well, when I went to bed the evening of the December 4th, I I laid down, and about, I don't know, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in that next morning, my water broke, and I tell you, I was scared to death. Of course, I didn't know what was going to happen here. So I called the hospital and told them what had happened, and the nurse said, just take a shower, and you got time to take a shower. And she said, what color was it? And I said, well, I have no idea what color it was because I had flowered sheets on the bed. Anyway, she said, just take your time and come. So I got Mac up and told him it was time to go, and he drove me to the hospital, and we got settled in there, and they would only let me have ice chips, and I was, by the time all this happened, it was about 7 or 8 o'clock, I guess, of the morning, and I was starved, and like I said, all I could have was the ice chips. And anyway, she did a sonogram on me and told me that the cord was wrapped around your neck, and that she was going to have to do a cesarean. And I said, well, she said, do you want a bikini cut or an up and down? And I said, well, I'll take the bikini, although I'll never probably wear a bikini again. But anyway, so I had Krista at 1:30, or I had you at 1:37 in the afternoon, and they had to give me, of course, Pitocin to get the labor started. And so anyway, she stapled me up, and the next thing I knew, we brought you in to me, and I just couldn't believe I'd had this beautiful little baby girl. You were gorgeous, and anyway, that's I don't know. That's about all I remember. And then I didn't have to stay very long in the hospital, and then I went home the next day. So,
gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, Mom. Yeah. So we both ended up with the C-section. You had the C-section.
Uh-huh.
I had the C-section. Just happy we both had happy, healthy babies on the other side of it at the end of the day, right?
That's right.
Well, what is something no one told you about becoming a mom?
Well, that my whole world would be completely changed. There'd just be milestones and all kinds of things that I guess I never had thought about. When I was growing up, all I wanted was a little house with a picket fence and have some little ones, and that's all I ever thought about.
Yeah.
But anyway, No, I don't remember anybody really, Mom never really gave me a whole lot of information about, what it would be like or anything. And being an only child, I didn't really have many to ask. So,
Mhm.
no sisters.
Yeah, we're both kind of in that boat, aren't we? You don't have any siblings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any siblings. We've just had to figure it all out.
That's right. Right.
Well, so I know that baby gear and kid gear has changed a lot in the 3+ decades since you had me and since I have now had a baby. So, and there's lots of crazy baby gadgets today, but I'm sure there were when you had me too. So looking back on, with me being an infant, you being a new mom, and then on into even toddlerhood and just being a little kid, what can you think of something that maybe was a piece of baby or kid gear that really was a lifesaver for you in terms of just helping you with me?
Well, I've been trying to thought about this, and I've come up with a few things. Those little this was a little medicine, not a dropper, but it was a medicine giver that had a little spoon on the end of it. It was plastic, and it had the measurements, on it, so that I could just stick that in your mouth and just tip it up rather than, using a regular spoon or anything. I thought that was handy, and back in that time period, they had what was called head pillows that you would put in the pumpkin seat where the baby would not roll their head around, or your dad. I'd kind of quizzed him about what he thought, was handy when you were little, and he said the video camera, because he said we could set that up and turn that on and some music, and you would dance and do all kinds of things, and we could get it recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like back before video cameras and still cameras were in the palm of our hand on our phones, right? When everything, you had a separate video camera for video, you had a separate still camera for still photography, and then we all had phones on the wall. Now all of those things are combined into one device these days.
Right. But anyway, that's just a few of the things that I remember.
How do you keep it all together? How did you keep it all together as a working mom with a working partner? Dad, you both had full-time jobs, so as two working parents, and then a new baby that grew up to be very independent and wanted to be involved in all the things. How did you keep everything running smoothly?
Well, had to learn a different kind of schedule than what we were having, but I want to say, if it weren't for my mom and Mac's mom, being Mac's mom especially being close, just across the field, and then my mom living still in Carrier Mills, but she actually quit her job so that she could come and we could keep you at home, and you didn't have to go to daycare. And then if Mom couldn't do it, Mary would do it, and then sometimes my sister-in-law would do it. And then we've had some friends at times that would stay with you. But we didn't have a very hard, I won't say, we didn't have a hard time, but I mean, we always had somebody that was available to, take care of you. And then when you were old enough to go to daycare, then we sent you to the Kitty City.
Mhm.
So
I remember
yeah.
that. I remember that very well, and I remember during nap time always wanting to be the talker. I was the chatty Cathy talking with everyone, sitting at the edge of my cot. I did not want to take a nap, and they would get on to me very politely, for keeping everyone awake and not wanting to go to sleep myself. And I look back on that today, and now I understand why my child does not want to take a nap, and I get it. And it also makes me think that in this world we live in, adults should get naps. This is kind of flip-flopped a little bit. I would give anything now to have a nap time in my day. But I remember being that little kid that did not want to take a nap at school. And so those days when I am questioning things or, things are going a little sideways during nap time, I understand, because I was once that child. My child comes with it. She gets it naturally for not wanting to go down for her nap.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
How long? So, about when did I start daycare? I remember being at Kitty City. I have good memories from being there.
Yeah, I think you were about 4.
Okay. And so I was there up until I started kindergarten then.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So looking back on it all, thinking back to when you were working hard raising me, and then now maybe even, as you're settling into grandparenthood, now that I have a kiddo, what is a tip or trick or piece of advice that you would share with another mama out there today?
Rest all you can. Maybe get a massage every now and then, and you got to take care of yourself too.
That is absolutely right. Self-care, extremely, extremely important. Because it's hard to take care of everyone else if you're not taking good care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's
and
right.
what was something, because I feel like as I've gotten older, I've noticed that with you, that you'll take time to go get a massage now and then and, get your pedicures and all that. But I don't remember as a little kid, I don't remember that. So thinking back, and maybe you did it, and obviously I was just too little to know what was happening or know what was going on. But back when you were a full-time working mom and raising me, what was something that you would do? Were you doing that and I just didn't know it, or were you doing other things too?
Well, I think we were doing other things. We, we're going out with friends, like Larry and Vicky, and they had a little bit older kids. We could go to their house and they would help take care of you, while the adults visited. And a lot of times we went on out in a Jeep out in the country, and I know we always took you, and then of course they took their kids, and we would just have a good day out. We had a lot of things to do with with your aunt and uncle, because they had 3 kids, and they had a swimming pool, and we would go over to their house and enjoy the swimming pool. I don't remember either doing that kind of thing back then, but I just know that as I've gotten older, yes, that's the things that the things that I need to do.
Mhm. Self-care, mamas. Self-care is so important, so that we can be present for the folks that we love and want to take care of in our lives. Well,
That's right.
any other parting words of wisdom that you would want to share with our listeners? Anything else I left out that you wish I would have asked?
No, I think you really asked some good questions, and just off the top of my head, no, I can't think of anything else. Now, after we finish, I may think of something else, and I'll have to tell you later.
Okay. Well, that's all right. I can always add something in at a later time. Well,
right.
Mom, very, very special guest, extra special guest today. As I'm doing these episodes, I am having, special guest interviews with other moms on this podcast, but you are the extra, extra, extra special guest because you brought me into the world. So if you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. This podcast wouldn't be here. So thank you for jumping on and doing this episode with me today. And thank you just for the wonderful woman and mother that you are. I am a very lucky girl to have you as my mom, and I love you very, very much.
I love you too very much, and I'm just honored to have been the person that brought you into this world.
All right. Well, that was so much fun talking with my mama. I hope you enjoyed what she shared. I know I really enjoyed having some time, carving out a little bit of time to speak with her, to share her wisdom and her mom experience with you here on Secret Mom Hacks. So thank you, Mama. I appreciate you and I love you. It was an honor to have you as my first interview on Secret Mom Hacks. All right, y'all. So let's face it. It's hard to take care of those you love if you're not taking care of yourself. So as we wrap today's episode, this is just a gentle reminder to stay hydrated, make time for a, 5, 10, 15-minute walk around your office, your house, whatever. Or hey, look, if you can squeeze in a half-hour jog, a quick walk around the neighborhood that's going to get your heart rate up and make you sweat, amazing. And don't forget to wash your face and slather on a great nighttime moisturizer before bed. And also don't forget that sunscreen in the morning. Your skin is going to thank you. All right. So thank you for spending time with us today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating and don't forget to leave a review sharing your favorite takeaway from the podcast so far. All right. I'll see you again soon on the next episode. Until then, remember, you've got this, Mama.